What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Noodle Time. I am your host, Mark Segovia, alongside my co-host, Andres Naranjo, waving the Dynamo flag. What's going on, Andres? There you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pretty good. Bye week, cry week, man. No Dynamo, and it's still some time to relax and settle up.
Oh, it's a
Look who's
threesome
here.
today.
Yes, sir.
What's up? What's up?
All
What's
right.
What's
Let's
going
go.
on, OSG?
What's up, man? Chilling, watching those get their butts kicked right now, but we're here. Let's go.
Yeah. Right
we
here.
have it in the background over there. That's awesome. Well, guys, the bye week has been a little bit of a great timing, if I may say so myself. Obviously get a little bit of the heat and the frustration of that last loss at home against Sporting Kansas City out of my system. Obviously watching our representative in the United States men's national team, Jack McGlynn, do great things. I can't say anything about the rest of the team, but at least our players showed up and scored a banger of a goal. And obviously now a lot of speculation about, what's going to happen with him. Will he survive the rest of the season as a Dynamo player? Will he be transferred? Obviously a lot of questions that we'll be answering here pretty soon in a little bit and all that good stuff. But, obviously doing this international break, man, had a lot of thinking to do, a lot of time to reflect, and all this good stuff, and obviously, unfortunately, obviously, there was a couple of games that played during midweek, and the Dynamo currently are in the 10th spot, which means they are outside of the playoff positioning as of this moment. And obviously, the good news is that we'll be encountering the worst of the East, but I don't know how much good news that is because, unfortunately, the Dynamo seem to play down to the level of their competition as of late, but we'll see what happens. But before we get to all that, we got enough time to talk about Dynamo and all that good stuff. Let's talk USA men's national team and specifically our own Jackie McGlynn. Started against Turkey, banger of a goal. I think it was the first or second minute, if I'm not mistaken, of that match. And then after that, guys, you could have basically turned off the TV. And that would have been it. You basically would have caught the same thing. Andres, let me talk to you, man. My social media was blowing up after that banger of a goal. Jack McGlynn was trending everywhere on X and all that stuff. And then obviously when you see the highlight and you see that goal in live, your thoughts on it, man? Just the quality. And just to see how far along he's come since we've seen him, just talk on that.
Honestly, just the fact of the matter that almost every goal with Houston kind of looks like that. Specifically, I was like, it was hard for me to be surprised because of the quality of the goals like he keeps putting in for Houston and now the men's national team, which is just incredible. He makes it look so easy. And you can say a lot of things about Jack McGlynn and the things he has to improve, especially during that game against Turkey. But what an incredible goal to open the scoring for the United States. And I mean, I kind of said it on Twitter during the game. He does that every single time with Houston, almost always. And man, what a performance if you were able to turn off the game right after that goal.
Yeah, that was basically all the highlights for that first game, man. OSG, I'll ask you the same question, man. Your thoughts on that time during that time period when Jack McGlynn scored that goal, man. Your thoughts on how you were feeling and what went through your mind.
Wow, I was like, all right, what an amazing start. Let's go. Jack McGlynn making a name for himself right there, right off the bat. Bangers on, don't let him be open outside the box. Yeah. All right, score the goal, and then after that, huh? What happened? What are we doing? Come on, Poach. Hey, excuses. We have our players are missing. We're not playing our best team, but whatever. It's good to see that Jack was doing that and being able to be a piece. And 2 games in a row he scored in his first 2 games as a professional national team player. So Keep it up, bro. Raise that value up. We know you're short term here. Just how short term are you?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that was always the indication, obviously, right? Like when that new mechanism started for MLS this season, and Philadelphia sold Jack McGlynn to us, and we bought for $2 million just right before the start of the season. The whole rumor was that Philadelphia had a lot of intrigue abroad, a lot of clubs from Serie A, and things like that, and a couple championship clubs from England as well had interest in him prior to him being sold to the Dynamo, but Philadelphia felt that the best deal was the Dynamo deal within the league, and obviously, it's worked out for both teams, and I think Philadelphia has a little bit of a sell-on clause as well. On top of that, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, like I said, McGlynn was intended to be a short-term player for us. Hopefully, somebody who can play at a top level and help the Dynamo succeed at the moment that he's here with us. And like I said, whether or not he finishes the season with us or doesn't, who knows? That's yet to be seen. We'll see what happens. But my personal views from that game was, wow. Way to grab the bull by the horns and take advantage of an opportunity. Obviously the whole thing about the European players not being available for the USA men's national team, that what's going on, these guys are soft, blah blah blah. That's a whole other story. But for us here locally, as Dynamo supporters and a Dynamo podcast, I mean, it couldn't have been a better a situation for us, Like I said, OSG mentioned it. Not only does it increase the value of the player, but also the eyes are going to be on this kid. I mean, Jack McGlynn is what, 21, 22 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Very, very, very young fella. Obviously, not only I'm pretty sure the Serie A and Championship clubs are still hovering around him, but obviously news of clubs from Belgium, clubs from the Premier League now are Wrexham.
Let's do
it. See what happens with that, man. But I mean, just it's a good feeling, to be honest. When your players are being scouted by clubs overseas, because I mean it's brand exposure that you're trying to get for this club. I mean, not only obviously it does sometimes suck to have to sell your good players abroad, but also brings exposure to your club, and then that player can speak upon about this club, to other players abroad who have thoughts or wonderings about coming over to MLS, and it opens a whole lot of doors for the Dynamo in that aspect. But speaking of transfer destinations, let's play a hypothetical here, man. You know me, I like to play the games. I like to ask these hypothetical questions, and all these things, and obviously we're going to focus a little bit on Jack McGlynn here with these hypotheticals. If you OSG were Pat right now, well, no, not necessarily Pat. Let's say you're Jack McGlynn's agent. Where would you want Jack McGlynn to go right at this moment? Let me give you the options. Club Brugge for Belgium, Sunderland for the Championship, who just got promoted, and let's throw Wrexham in there as well, since they're part of that stuff as well. Well, Sunderland's going to the Premier League, Wrexham is going to the Championship. Or what was the other club? I'm blanking on the other club that I saw that was intrigued, but
Anderlecht.
There you go. Out of those four clubs, out of those four clubs, what club would you want to see Jack McGlynn go to, and why?
I think he fits in the German league, maybe second German league or bottom tier German league. Club Brugge is fine. That's Belgium as well, but I think that's where he would fit more. It would be cool to see him on Wrexham. That'd be cool. But not knowing these teams and not knowing if they need a player in that style that would fit in their formation and whatever they're doing. But I would think a German style where they do play with the ball and they do possess and they do use their skill to their advantage, because Jack McGlynn is not beating you. He's using his technique to his advantage and then scoring goals off of you. So yeah, I think German or Belgium, so somewhere in that area would be nice. Would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, Club Brugge is the top club in Belgium, and they're constant Champions League. Obviously, they're constantly in the Champions League, stuff like that. So, Andres, I'll pose you the question from the other side of the other point of view. If you were the GM, Pat or Asher, what are you looking for as far as a transfer fee for Mr. McGlynn?
I feel like being in the region of $10 million will be a win for Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have to consider the fact that the split with Philadelphia as part of the deal with them, it's
I think it's 20%.
Half the pay cut.
Is it half? Oh, is it half? Wow.
I believe it's half.
It is 50.
But yeah, so we will need to get as much money as possible out of this deal, because the other half goes to Philadelphia, and I think they also get the variables.
It was 4, and they gave us 50, knocked it down to 2, so that adds it too as well.
Yeah, so basically we have to get as much money as possible. That's the short story. But yeah, if there's anywhere in the region of $10 million, I feel like it's going to be a win.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a little bit more, obviously it's more than I could ask for.
Okay.
And I feel like it's possible only because of the type of player Jack McGlynn is. And just based on the demand of all the clubs, I feel like it's feasible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I for some reason I was thinking I might be thinking somebody else thought it was 20 or 30% sell on, but 50%, obviously that makes a big difference as far as what I'm looking for in a transfer fee for a player of that magnitude, especially for a young player. Like I said, he's 21, so I mean he's barely scratching the surface of barely going into his prime. Man, he might have another 2, 3, 4 years before he actually is in his prime. So it's a great situation. I mean to have a player that young, that highly touted, and then obviously, like I said, the new mechanism where clubs can transfer within the league, and make these kind of moves for players who unfortunately might not fit in their club because of mechanisms not available as far as like a DP spot or a U22 spot, so they can sell them on to another club in MLS. It looks like up to this point like a win-win for the Dynamo and for the Philadelphia Union as well, because to be honest, I mean, I saw McGlynn a little bit with Philadelphia, and obviously Philadelphia was a title contending team during his time over there and stuff like that. But I think McGlynn on the Dynamo has been a better situation for him than his time in Philadelphia. What's his statistics right now? I think it's 2 goals and like 5 assists in MLS play, and a couple of goals in the in the US Open Cup, if I'm not mistaken. But so I mean, he's been active, he's been scoring, he's been distributing. Obviously, I know I was a bit of a little bit hard on him in the beginning with the free kicks and the corner kicks and stuff like that, but he's
as we were as well.
Yeah, for sure. And he's managed to get that back on a leash, and he's done a whole lot better as far as setting up things for the set pieces and allowing players the opportunity to score at the end of his free kicks. So yeah, I have to agree with you, Andres. I mean, if we're not talking 10 mil and above, I mean, then we're not talking at all, to be honest. So hopefully, Pat and Ash in the front office have that kind of stance, and hopefully we're lowballing, because sometimes you say 10 mil, and for MLS, it's like obviously 10 mil would be one of the highest transfers in league history. But I mean, sometimes when you get the opportunity when you have these players, you got to take advantage of that opportunity and try to maximize the amount of dollars that you're able to get, because
it can be the transfer market having that right now.
Yeah, and it can help. It can really help with the progression the Dynamo and what their capabilities are to do for the summer or for next winter transfer window, or for whenever they have the opportunity to get involved in the transfer market. What's going on, Kyle? Everything all right, man? Thank you for joining the show, my guy.
Kyle, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
Hey, before Andreas
Kyle?
answers, I was thinking 7.5 to answer your question, Mark. Before Andreas answered, he went 10. I was kind of like thinking 7.5, but I was kind of like, I'm feeling low, but I'm hoping it is going to be around the 10, at least two figures. Has to be, because the hype and the expectation, and we were like hoping to keep him till after the World Cup. But if the hype's there, add an extra 5 million on top of that. Andreas has an answer for us.
For sure. I mean, and and before Andres answers, I mean, you still have the Gold Cup coming up, that's where you're gonna showcase your skills and hopefully everything, all that good stuff. But Andres, you said 10 mils a pat. What club would you like to see Jackie McGlynn go to next if you had an opportunity, if you were his agent?
Honestly, I will definitely go, or at least try to find the club that's just like able to provide most of the opportunities. And I feel like to just grab something that OSU mentioned, I feel like the German second division will be probably the best option. And I'm also looking towards the Belgian league, even though I feel like right now, especially the top teams are trying to vie for a Champions League spot, or the ones that are out in right now in the Champions League. I feel like those are the teams that are going to be like the toughest to get those type of opportunities, because outside of the Premier League, of course, Sunderland just got promoted, and Wrexham, 100% sure they're going to be vying for promotion for the Premier League. I feel like those are going to be the most difficult spots to even get to playing time outside of like the League Cup and whatever. And yeah, I see like Belgium, or rather a little bit in the lower division in Germany, which is being like the best options for him. Like the one thing he needs more than anything is just visibility and time to play and develop over time. And OSU also asked for like the transfer market value. Right now it's at $5 million. So it's possible with all the demand that they can just try and lowball it and wait for the best offer. But yeah, it's something to look at.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, for sure. And obviously, transfer market, obviously, they'll shout out to those guys. They do a really good job with the whole, calculating of numbers and value and all that good stuff. But when demand is demand, I mean, you gotta pay high end prices. So I mean, if you really need something and it's in demand and you have competition for it, then highest bidder wins, right? That's the way it goes. So fortunately for us, hopefully it's not a situation where the club has to sell. It's no pressure, and the only reason we're talking about this is because, like I said, he really realistically, that was the only bright spot from these last two games with the USA men's national team, and like I said, there's been a lot of focus on him. I mean, think about that Turkish team that he played against. He's playing against players like Arda Güler, Real Madrid wonder boy, Kenan Yildiz, another wonder boy who currently plays for Juventus, and he's up there playing the game right along with those guys, showing no type of fear, and that he can play with those type of guys. So I mean, obviously,
Turkey A.
Yeah, Turkey A. Yeah. Let me know when Turkey B gets here, because probably we get a better chance against them. So, yeah, guys. I mean, like I said, obviously we might be talking a little bit. We might be foreshadowing a little too much, but I mean, it's great to have these type of conversations and things like that, because, like I said prior, my whole thing with the club is I want club exposure. I want the brand to grow. I want the Dynamo brand to be known around the world.
Hello, Tim Howard.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously you get somebody like a Tim Howard that joins the ownership, somebody like a James Harden who's a global superstar as far as sports when it comes to basketball. Those things help. And you get like a Hector Herrera, who's known around the soccer world as far as, you know, being a decent player and things of that nature. And then, you know, obviously our times in the Champions Cup and things of that nature, lifting 2 MLS Cups, you know, lifting 2 US Open Cups and things of that nature as well. You know, it's great to be involved in those spotlight moments that really highlight the club and show off Houston as in general. So, guys, anything else you want to add on Jackie McGlynn's behalf? I mean, I know there's a lot, but I mean, you know, if there's anything else y'all want to add, let me know, Andres or OSG.
Yeah, honestly, I'm looking forward to him developing with the team, and it might be a pretty long month without him, especially with like the state of the USMNT national team heading into the Gold Cup. It will kind of suck if the US get grouped out of the Gold Cup, but it will be good for us because he'll be back in Houston pretty soon.
For sure. OSG, anything before we go?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that we get approved with credentials for the game against Saudi Arabia here in Austin, so we can interview Jack and talk to him about the spectacular time he is having with the U.S. national team.
There you go.
Get a specter from him and about this, and see how much he's enjoying it and having a good time. But I'm glad he's doing it, and I'm glad he's getting the highlight or the flashlight or whatever. And I hope when he comes back, he's gonna be gone for a month. We're gonna pick it up. We got home, so if the dude's good, the dude's good. We're good. So we're gonna miss McGlynn though a little bit, but when he comes back for that final push, it's gonna be, yeah. We I don't know, man. USA, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be crazy for the Gold Cup. Kyle saying USA getting bounced, ain't getting bounced, but that's gonna be tough, man. They ain't showing shit right now.
Yeah. You know, one of you guys are gonna have to ask this question to Jackie McGlynn when you get the opportunity to interview him, man. That, you know, I would like to know which 1 or 2 players he's getting along with over there, you know, in the national team, you know, training camp. That's kind of like, you know, like what's he picking up? You know, what's he who's he like kind of attaching himself to? You know, what's he learned? You know, what is he picking up? What has Pochettino taught him differently from Ben Olsen, you know, and things of that nature. You know, it's always interesting to see, you know, these players. You know, obviously we know what he does for the Dynamo because, you know, obviously we follow Dynamo full time. But then it's interesting to see them go off to their national teams and do something completely different and be something completely different. You know, because a coach might have a different vision for them. So it's kind of an intriguing thing to see about, you know, having being on a club team and an international team and a national team. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's one of the questions that I would like for y'all to ask him when y'all get the opportunity. But moving on, I was gonna get to the Dynamo and you know, coming back to the season already, but before we get to all that, man, you know, I had, you know, for a lot of us and a lot of you guys are on Discord, you know, and on X and stuff like that. Obviously, we follow anything Dynamo between, you know, Reddit, X, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, Discord, all that stuff. Shout out to the people with the Surge, Texanian RM, about the all everything, right? Everything Dynamo. One of the things that has been talked about a lot lately is the potential third kit for the Dynamo. Not for the Dynamo, for a couple of MLS teams, obviously. But like I said, we focus on the Dynamo, and obviously this would be our first third kit since the 2011-12 season, when we all remember that magnificent dark orange with the green star logo, sponsorship in the beginning and all that stuff. It would have been a perfect day for you to wear that today, Andres. But with that being said, what a classic third kit, you know, for it only being our only third kit in club history, right? And it got me thinking because it didn't get me thinking. I saw a post on Twitter and it got me thinking, man, and really got me kind of riled up. And then I started talking to some guys from the Surge, and some of them were on my side, some of them were not, you know. And I kind of want to go back and forth with you guys about the third kit situation and what you want to see and what you wanted to represent. And, you know, obviously because, you know, unfortunately for us, since MLS is with Adidas, we haven't had the opportunity to get that third kit because we haven't hit the X amount, the minimum required sales for jerseys to get that third kit available to us. But they're doing this one-time thing, whatever, with MLS where they want to provide this third kit for these teams. So, it's something that came up to me. So anyways, with that being said, the post was basically they want the Dynamo to do kind of an inspired Houston Oilers third kit. Bring back the Love You Blue, kind of what they did with the dash, or or that sky blue that they used to be integrated with the white kits back in the days. If you remember those kits from like 2009 to 2013 with the Amigo Energy sponsorship in the front. Sorry, guys. Your thoughts, guys, on a potential maybe Houston Oilers inspired third kit? For me, in my opinion, and I'll let you know quickly, I am against it. I am against it, super against it. And I'll tell you, and I'll tell you one. I'll tell you first and foremost. First and foremost, not a big fan of light blue or baby blue, sky blue, whatever blue you want to call it. Not a big fan of it. First and foremost.
I'm calling it space blue.
Secondly, you're honoring a team that didn't do much of anything during this whole time.
Whoa! All right. Let me. Hey, hold on. Why is it Houston Oilers? Why is it Houston Oilers inspired?
You'll get your time.
This is soccer. No, ain't Houston Oilers inspired. Space City Blue is not football.
Didn't really do much. And then thirdly, like everybody and their mama's done it. U of H, Dash, Rockets. But I mean, like, dude, like who, like, I mean, honestly, like it's played out. It's worn out. I'm done. I'm done with the whole. Hey, let's tribute to the Houston Oilers who've never done anything. They had a greedy owner, took the team out of the city, and now the daughter of that owner who died doesn't trolls the city of Houston by wearing that uniform against the Texans. So I mean, like,
why
guys,
are you giving those
let
trolls
that shit go.
credit?
Let that shit go. All right, OSG, I'll let you go first.
Nah, why are you giving those trolls credit? Who said it was any Oiler inspired anything? It's Space City Blue is our attire for the Dynamo, not no Houston Oiler Love You Blue bullshit. I love my Houston Oilers.
No. This is what I saw.
Hey, no, that's how not everything's true on the fucking internet. Hey, obviously, I look at AI and Yeti is on there fucking talking shit to people right now. So it's not everything. I'm not saying
that's the direction they're going. I'm saying that this is what some people want. Like this. I mean, obviously,
so Mark, forget the Houston Oilers style of it. How about the Houston Dynamo Space City Blue that we did have inspired into that Amigo white jersey with the blue stripes? How about we do a Space City Blue with the orange stripes and maybe a little white or white shorts or something inspiring that? Not friggin' Houston Oilers. I mean, because one color. All right, how about Man City Blue then? Let's see if we're gonna go that route.
This is the Man City fan of you coming out. You want to see you want a Man City Houston Dynamo kit. That's what you want.
Whatever. I mean, you're labeling the blue for the Oilers. That's what that's the analogy I was going.
Look. I said it.
It's not, Kyle. No, it's not, Kyle.
I said it in the Discord, and I'll say it here. Baby blue, baby blue, sky blue, love you blue, light blue, whatever kind of blue you call that light shade of blue, I don't want it. Get it away from me as far away as possible. I don't want it. I am very against that color of blue. I've lived in Houston my whole life. Like I said, I wasn't an Oilers fan, for whatever reason, I guess, but like that blue, that shade of blue has never related to me in Houston any kind of way. Now, there's one thing I'll give it to, and I'll shout him out because he mentioned this in the Discord. Chino, shout out to him from the Surge. He mentioned this, obviously the color of the flag, the city of Houston flag, and all that bullshit. But dude, most of us don't even know what the city of Houston flag looks like. To be honest, if we're being for real, like or any city of or any flag of a city, like if I walk around all of BBVA Stadium, or I'm sorry, Shell Energy Stadium.
What stadium?
I see the American flag, I see the Texas flag, and I see a Canadian flag. Nowhere do I see a city of Houston flag, to be honest, But I mean, but I will give credit where credit is due. That, like, the fact that the city of Houston flag is that shade of blue, I guess. But like I said, half of Houston
there, bro. It's there. It's there. You're just living on the football side of it.
Half of Houston doesn't even know what the city of Houston flag looks like.
Jesus Christ.
But anyways, your ideas for a third kit OSG, what would you make it? If taking away the Space City blue or whatever kind of blue you're talking about, selection.
I mean, you there's only one other choice: is go the black way and bring back the black with the. Hey, how about the black with the orange rainbow? And I appreciate that. But now you're going to tell me the Astros sucked back then too because they didn't win a World Series and lost to the White Sox. Well, that was brick red too. But I don't know, man. I just hope they use originality and just do something that's different and don't look like Miami does. And Miami was boring. That looked like their pink jersey. It was just blue. They didn't change nothing. So hopefully it's different. That's all I'm asking.
Well, I mean, they've had the benefit of the doubt of having third jerseys for the last 3 years. So I mean, it's really nothing for them. So Andres, any ideas or any kind of what would you do if you were the creator of this third kit for the Dynamo?
Honestly, first thoughts, as always, it will be like Kyle. Space City Blue. But look, I get if you hate the color, it's perfectly fine if you don't find it as aesthetically like appealing or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like for a lot of people, it would be like the first choice. And one thing to consider, of course, is the fact that we do get the third kit next year. And as part of the rotation, we should be getting a new away jersey since the purple jersey should be gone by then.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a question if we're switching back to black next year as a secondary kit,
mm-hmm. Or opens it up even more now.
But something to consider, and
that's why Kyle said go Rockets red and yellow. Red and yellow blended together makes orange. So,
see, look, I like not that I fully agree with what Kyle's saying, but I mean, if you are gonna, I guess, have an inspiration behind the third kit and make it a team from Houston's past legacies. I mean, the 90s Rockets would be perfect, obviously, back-to-back championships kind of coincides with the back-to-back champions that, with the Dynamo when they won them, and things like that. Obviously Rockets colors are really popular. It's a very popular team here in Houston, and especially right now they're doing really well.
For half a game.
And things of that nature. I'm not too fond of the red and mustard, this and that, whatever. I mean, look, the guys in Adidas, they do great jobs with jerseys and kits, and I'm pretty sure they can make a fire kit with yellow and red, right? And that's great. But what I like, in my opinion, and I like the theme of the hip hop that they're following, the Houston hip hop scene. And look, and just going back to what OSG, maybe going back to black, some kind of blackish screw tape, type of color would be nice. Something inspired by that, or maybe a candy red, to go with the slabs and stuff like that. Some kind of candy colored that just pops, and just Dynamo, boom, just pops, right? Something of that nature. Andres obviously brought up a great thing that obviously next year our away kit would change. But to be honest, I would love if they integrated the purple again somehow. The purple was such a hit. To be honest, I look, get away from that sky blue, Space City blue shit. Give me the purple lean. You
druggy.
Include and bring that back. Integrate that somehow with the black and orange or white and orange or whatever. Like, look, the shirt that Andres is wearing, the creamsicle with the purple. I mean, shit, maybe some type of white kid with the purple embroidered or whatever. Kind of that color of royalty, man. We're one of few clubs that have won multiple championships in this league, right? Have lifted multiple U.S. Open Cups. We're royalty, bro. That royal purple with some white, dude. Like, that's something like that. That's what it should be. Not no bullshit Houston Oilers, inspired kid or whatever, But
I
mean,
I was gonna add though, but because of course just the fact that the secondary kit can change next year, and we could probably either just go back to black or stick with purple just with a new design. I feel like it could open up the opportunity of having like a light kit.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally thought about this because if they want to use a third kit as like some sort of way to honor history and have like a light color, since we already have like a dark one, then I feel like this is gonna be a deep cut, and I doubt a lot of people know about it, but probably Houston Hurricane theme because back in the day during the NSL days when they were playing the Astrodome, they used to have like a white and orange kit, which I feel like can definitely fit the theme of the Dynamo.
Yeah,
and it kind of looks like similar to that logo, and I feel like it's a viable option if they keep the secondary kit dark or like dark theme. So it could definitely be extremely creative. I doubt a lot of people are gonna know about it, but it's definitely unique if they don't want to go like Space City Blue.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, Andres, and see this is why I love you guys as my co-host, because you guys expand my mind. Like you guys say stuff and I'm like, oh shit. Then thank you, man. You know what the great thing about that situation could be? Not only are you gonna bring back history of Houston soccer, right? But think about it. Adidas, who else does Adidas do? Mexico, right? And Mexico has been talking about going back to those old school 80s type jerseys, whatever this and that. Why couldn't Adidas do something for MLS clubs like that? Like that type of style, that old school style that I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures of the old school Mexico jerseys they wore in the 80s, but those things were stylish, man. Those things were clean, and to do let's say a lot, like obviously long sleeves are not that big of a deal here because it's so hot, but like just to have like that orange with that white crest with that white embroidery outline or whatever, or vice versa, depending on how you want to do it, I think something like that would look so amazing, so vintage and so sexy, like you forget that these third kits, they're like, especially for a team like the Dynamo, club like the Dynamo, who doesn't get these opportunities that much. These things are like collector's items. Like, dude, I'm still looking for that damn third jersey from 2012.
I got it.
Like,
it's pretty awesome.
Like, yeah, way to rub it in. I'm still looking for that bad boy. I'm still looking for that shit. And if anybody knows where I can get one, man, extra large, please let me know. But I need the one with the green star, sponsorship on the front. But anyways, with that being said, just like those kits are. I feel like those are meant to be played. Have a lot of playing with. There you go, and all that good stuff. And those are amazing, man. Like, you can do a lot of things with them, and you can make them so stylish and not just being used for Dynamo games, but to be worn just on a random day outside representing your club, and that's the whole purpose of a third kit, not necessarily to blend in with the primary and secondary colors of your club, but to be out there and kind of like just have fun with it. And I want the Dynamo to have fun with this third kit coming up. So, it's just one of those things that I saw on X today, and I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna bring this topic up to the guys, and and I'm glad that I did, because like I said, I love the ideas of like like what Andres said, going back to the old school Houston Dynamo or Houston Hurricane, type deal. The same thing with what OSG said, as far as like maybe a different type of black, maybe something included, something associated with like some screw tapes or whatever and stuff like that.
Bring back the Cosmo jersey with Pele.
We're not New York. We're not New York City, so I don't know. All right, guys. Well, let's get to what we're really here to talk about, guys. This Saturday, June 14th, at Shell Energy Stadium, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Houston Dynamo, your Houston Dynamo versus the Montreal Impact, or Le Foot, or whatever they're called nowadays. Whatever the hell they're called nowadays. But the worst team in the East, basically, against the Dynamo. Guys, it's been a week and a half since the disappointing loss against Sporting Kansas City. OSG, you weren't here last week, but I was talking to Andres that I felt such a disappointment because I came onto this damn show and sounded so overly confident about the Dynamo closing out the month of May with such a dramatic win. I said 5-0. Place the bet, guys. It's going to cash out. I apologize to everybody. This is why we don't have a betting a sponsorship or anything like that. This is why I don't suggest anybody go on and bet and make bets, because this is things like this happen, right?
Well, you didn't tell nobody to make that 5-0 bet. You just told everybody that was your bet.
With that being said, the worst club and possibly the whole entire league, with the worst club for sure in the eastern side of the bracket, and the worst club in Canada is coming into our city, playing in 100 and what's probably going to be 90-degree, 100-degree weather with the humidity and all that good stuff. Guys, what are you interested to see in this game coming up against against Montreal? OSG, I'll start with you first. What's something that you want to see in this game, as far as maybe a player or a different tactic or a different type of style, or just what are you looking for in this game?
A technical performance, a non-mistake performance. You've had 2 weeks to practice and talk about it and understand, again, what Ben has been teaching all season, and Holmes to get integrated a little bit more, and the defenders that he's been rotating in the back to be more familiar with each other. Maybe Eric is close to returning and solidifying that defense back there. But I'm definitely looking for a very positive performance against a team that has one win all year, and that one win was on the road. But they started off the first 7 or 8 games of the season on the road to start their season off. So they're having one of those seasons where they're just put in a difficult situation. But the ball is round. I love that podcast from them guys up there. They're my friends. They're my buddies. I do not wish you the best when the whistle blows, but Montreal, you have no chance. I'm just kidding. We are playing at home, so you never know what's going to happen at the Shell.
Yeah, the home situation hasn't been that pretty to us. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Andres, same question to you, man. What are you looking for differently this upcoming Saturday? And do you expect any changes as far as the lineup goes?
I think OSG said it best. It's a game that we cannot allow more mistakes like the ones against Kansas City, and many games throughout the season would cost us points, especially at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything other than us seeing improvements after this bye week it's more so of a failure, and I'm gonna be more worried about this team going forward. And things can definitely change. The one change that I've definitely seen the lineup, and I feel like it's going to happen against Montreal, is that Anali is going to start. And I've seen enough in the game against Kansas City. Like, he was just an absolute menace.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's ready. He's 100% ready to go. He comes in and absolutely is not afraid to run into the box and just be a threat to the defenses like that. So I feel like Anali's just bound to start now, and I'm looking forward to see how he plays.
Yeah, man, the Anali situation is such a it's such a thing for me, man, because I still can't. I mean, it's since that kid came here last season, from the get go, something was different about this kid. Like, something is really different about this kid. It just seems like like you can tell when players are a certain level, and then you can tell when you have a player that's above that level, and and hopefully I'm speaking this to existence, but every time I see him on the ball, it just seems like the game slows down and he's able to do whatever he wants against whoever comes up against him, and he's able to maneuver, pass, assist, however he needs to do, and is at no bother, effortless, and when I see that type of movement in a player, it's just like, wow, like you really see like there's levels to this, as far as being a soccer player and stuff like that. And I think Anali is a diamond in the rough for us, and like I said, unfortunately with the injury that he had, that obviously derailed that. But like, for him to come back the way he did against Sports City, like I said, realistically the only, aside from the Kowalovic goal, right, the only bright spot about that game was seeing him get some minutes under his belt, and seeing him not be afraid to go in there and attack and go 1v1. That was one of the things that I was kind of worried about. Like, man, how is he going to be timid? Is he going to be a little hesitant with his injury and all that stuff? And obviously now that he has 2 weeks off, I'm pretty sure he's been going hard, training, trying to get up to speed. What's going on, Andres? You got an update on the Dos game or what?
No, you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, they got demolished. That's all I want to
say. Oh man. Shout out to those boys, but I mean, them,
Hey, don't start off this 4-game road trip with a 4-1 loss to Minnesota 2. They've lost now twice this season, 3-1 and 4-1. Oh, incredible! Because Minnesota was sucking this year. They're 0-3 at home, but
they're turning it around.
Yeah,
they're turning. Yeah. Well, at least against the Dynamo, they're turning it around. But anyways, guys. To keep going on what I was saying about Anali, I'm very intrigued, man. I just hope, I pray to the soccer gods, please let us have this kid and let him be as healthy as possible, man. Because I feel if he comes in and he doesn't get hurt and he's able to do what he does, I think I honestly believe he's gonna be the difference.
Yep.
Regardless of whether or not we bring in more talent in the summer or whatever, if Anali stays healthy, I think he's the difference. I think he changes it up. I think he's the one who opens up Ponce and Linger and allows them to do what they need to do. And I think he's the X factor in my opinion. So I'm not sure if he starts this game. Andres, maybe you have more of a connect and you know more than I do, but I don't think he starts. What I do think is I think he gets a lot more minutes. Now, what does that mean? Does he start right off the gate in the second half and gets a full 45? Maybe something like that. Who knows? Depending, obviously, you have to go with the flow of the game, and if Kowalovic is the one starting on the left and he just has a banger of a first half, I mean, then you kind of got to ride that train or whatever. But we'll see what happens. But I am excited to see Anali progressing and getting healthier and helping this club, because I think he is the X factor. Guys, obviously we gotta talk predictions. Predictions. I mean, this is the worst club in the East. So I need big scores. OSG, give me a score. Give me something bold. Give me something to get
3-0.
excited about.
3-0 shirts off finally in the supporter section.
You've been wanting to
3-0.
take that shirt off.
3-0 shirts off. Shirts off.
Who scores the 3 goals?
Well, Linger's going to get one. Linger's going to get one for sure. Holmes is going to get the other. And then I think I'm going to stay up top because your initial question is who's going to be those top 3 players? Ponce is going to be the striker. Anali is going to be the left. Linger is going to be the cam. And Holmes is going to play that ram position. And I think it's going to be the left wing, the cam, and the ram that score all 3 goals. Our defenders take a break this game, and they just get the clean sheet.
Andres.
I was also hovering towards 3-0, but the goals are going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
I think Ponce gets one, Dwayne Holmes gets one, and then Anali gets one.
Ooh, I like the Holmes love. Holmes, that's another player who's shown that he's ready. Obviously, we've been waiting for him to get healthy. A lot of stuff, and Holmes might be that type of player that gets the Dynamo opened up as far as offensively goes as well. So who knows, man? I appreciate the fact that both of y'all mentioned him because, obviously I'm very excited about Inali, but I'm also excited to see what Holmes brings to the table as well, especially because McGlynn is out and this is his time to shine. So
and
we'll see
Holmes
what that
brings
happens.
something different to the table than McGlynn as well. Something different than Bossy. Something different than Seba. He brings. If Dorsey's hanging back, Holmes will be that guy roping around the wing. He'll play central. He'll play it all, and he'll be a goddamn good ram. I'm ready for him to play. It's been 2 weeks. He's played 2 games, so look for him. I think Anali is ready. Anali's even posted on Instagram a little bit more, so Anali might know something that he might be starting. So look forward to it. Let's get up 3-0 at halftime and have them shirts off, and then we can just throw water the rest of the game.
I wanna do a hat trick of 3-0, man, but shit, man, I said 5-0, man, and it didn't go right. It didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. Man, I don't know.
5-0 was a dream, by the way, with the use of Dynamo.
Dude,
3-0 is probably a dream because we don't know how to score.
Damn it, OSG! I came in here with all the confidence in the world, man. You should have seen me. I was so confident. I was like 5-0, it's gonna happen, easy. Place the bet. Man, let's not talk about it. That's in the past. That's in the past. We're in June now.
Let's make that money back.
Let's make that money back, guys. You know what? I'm gonna ride the wave with you guys. I'm gonna do a hat trick of 3-0. There's no reason this Montreal team should score, especially 100-degree weather. Those guys are from the north. They're not built for this. And they're the worst team in the East. Like Sporting Kansas City was a bad team, but damn it, Montreal is that much worse. They're so horrible. I don't know what's going on up there, but whatever is happening, it's bad. So 3-0, Dynamo should win. Clean sheet for Bond. Who scores the goals? I gotta give one to my man Inali. Obviously you gotta get him on the scoring sheet. Obviously, and I'm gonna go up Ponce Brace and Inali getting on the scoreboard. So that's the way I'm gonna go, guys. Obviously, before we move on to the next question that I have for you, I know we mentioned to start the front 3. Who do you guys have in the back 4? Because the back 4 is an interesting conversation now, especially with the emergence of Adrande and obviously Ortiz and then possibly Eric coming back from injury. But Andres, I'll go with you first, man. Who's your back 4?
That's a tough question because it's, despite all the times I keep saying that they have to be consistent, like there's games that they just have those personal mistakes that cost goals for us, and there's games that they just come up pretty big. And one of those examples is definitely Pablo Ortiz. He's been hit and miss in certain games, and I feel like lately, granted, he's still fairly new, getting acclimated to the team and everything else, but I feel like there's been more misses and hits for Pablo Ortiz, and there's a chance that he could become like he could be taken off the starting lineup. I feel like him and I feel like Femi has a better chance of keeping the starting spot.
Okay.
Just based on his performances lately.
So who's your left back? Let's go left from right. Who's your left back?
Andrade.
It's I was gonna say Felipe Andrade has been earning that spot more than
Andrade.
anything.
Who's your two corners? Or your two center backs? Sorry.
I want to say Femi, and I don't want to say Svechenko just yet because like he's more doubtful than anything. But yeah, Ethan Bartlow for sure.
Okay, and then Dorsey on the right, or does Escobar get to play his primary spot?
I mean, Dorsey has to start every game, and
he didn't start the last
after this rest. Dorsey has to start.
Yeah. Same question to you, OSG, from left to right. Who's your left back?
Yeah, Andrade or Femi, Ortiz, and then Dorsey. And I don't know how you put Femi and Ortiz, unfortunately, but right now those are the two. Unless Eric is ready, I don't know if you do Bartlow. I think Bartlow might be more secure over Ortiz right now. So maybe Bartlow and Femi is probably my two centers, and then you have Dorsey and Andrade. Maybe can we put Escobar in the middle and see what he does?
So I'm gonna have a little bit different. I'm gonna twist it up a little bit for you. I'm gonna have Escobar on the left. I'm gonna have Andrade next to Escobar.
I'm okay with that.
Then Bartlow, and then Dorsey. Femi, obviously Femi's done a great job, and it's not really that he's losing the starting spot. It's just that Andrade has been such an emergence, and you have to have that guy in the back four, you know.
Yep.
And he's just he as far as you know, scoring on set pieces, that kid understands the assignment. Like he goes out there and he looks for that ball and tries to get a scoring opportunity. So, you know, obviously we know that Dorsey comes out from the right, you know, and he likes to push the game up and pressure, and obviously Escobar can do the same. But I mean, imagine having someone from the middle like Andrade being able to do the same thing for you from the back. It's something that, you know, I think they can tinker with, especially against a team like Montreal, who really have no type of attack and nothing going for them. So I think that would be is that realistic? Probably not. But I would like to try it. Escobar on the left, Andrade and Bartlow in the center, and Dorsey on the right. But I guess we'll see. Just something I wanted to ask you guys before we moved on to the next topic. Guys, obviously, we're not in the position where we want to be going into this Saturday's game. And that's mainly because the Dynamo didn't win 5-0 against Sporting Kansas City. Let's be real. You know, currently in 10th place, but I will refrain from going to asking if the Dynamo are one of the worst teams in the league, because obviously I don't think that. And I think we're kind of far from that, you know, obviously with all the other teams that are involved in the bottom. But being in 10th place, we are in the thick of things as far as playoff positioning goes. And obviously, on paper, it looks like we have a huge advantage to move up in the standings because, like I said, the worst team in the East is coming to our town. Guys, are the Dynamo playoff bound? Andres, I'll let you answer first.
I still think so.
Are they playoff bound or are they play-in bound?
They're playing bound.
Play-in?
At least.
I respect that.
And they're always playoff bound, but as things stand, I feel like they're more than playing because I want to see more consistent results. And you have a game against Kansas City where you feel like after having a pretty successful road trip where you're able to recover a ton of points, you're still facing these teams that fans like us that have seen Houston perform above our expectations at times. they keep dropping points at home. It's kind of like you cannot lose at home if you want to go to the playoffs. So it's really concerning. But for me, I still see them in the playoffs one way or another.
So before I get to you, OSG, and I ask you this question, let me show you the difference that one game made, right? Had we just won, not even dominated Spartan Kansas City, whatever, just won the game, we'd be at 23 points and we'd be in 7th place ahead of Austin with a game in hand. You know? That sounds a lot better than 10th place. You know? 7th place on the Western Conference table, a game in hand, ahead of our, ginger stepbrother Austin FC, and all that good stuff. But that's the difference a game can make, and especially when you are playing a team and a club that is beneath you. You need to take advantage of those opportunities, which the Dynamo did not, and especially at home. On top of that, too, I mean, like it's double bubble. Like you had double bubble, and you basically bursted both bubbles and didn't do anything. OSG, playoff bound, play-in bound, no playoffs. What do you think?
No, we're still playoff bound. There's still so much potential. Now, this is all going to lie on Ben, though. It's all going to lie on Ben. Everybody's going to put it on the players, and the players suck. We brought in these players. I think we just brought in a bunch of players that play the same position, and there's not enough positions on the field at the same time. Ben's got to figure it out and play these guys in the right way, in the right manner to finish off the season. He can't be stubborn and stick to his friggin' same tactical way, and he has to make adjustments. If he can make just little adjustments here and there, and just to help us out, he can figure it out. This team can build upon themselves. They won't be so faulted by a one damn mistake that loses the game or keeps us from even tying a game or winning a game. So to me, it's up to Ben. I think the players are just so much is going on, and the way Ben wants to play, and he's being stuck to this way, and you can see it. You can see it on the field too, where they're not just playing naturally; they're playing forcefully. So Ben needs to just open up a little bit, let these guys play their game, and see what happens. There's nothing to lose now. Play for the playoffs. Let's go. I don't want to be a play-in. I want to be a playoff, and I think we can do it. I'm there for it. It's up to Ben.
Yeah, one thing that I'll admit that I've been surprisingly accepting to, and I'm glad to see is that the new acquisition, the players that come in, Andrade, Ortiz, Holmes, Linger, I feel like McGlynn, they've all come in and they've contributed. They've all come in and they've helped win games. They've helped collect points. They've helped do a lot of things. So I'll give a big shout out to Pat and Asher. Because like I said, I mean it's tough, especially with the way it happened and the execution and the timing of everything. Where instead of having these players come in earlier and having a preseason with these guys and then getting acclimated to the club, they came in, a month after the season started. They're sprinkling in because some were injured, some were having visa issues, some were having this issue, some were having whatever, blah blah blah. And then granted, give credit where credit is due. Those guys have come in and they've made an instant impact for the most part, and it's good to see. Now we have these champagne problems, like our buddy Glenn Davis likes to call, of wondering who plays in the defense, who starts up front in the three. So it's good problems to have, right? And typically when you have these type of problems in a club like this, you're talking about a club who has a deep bench and who's in the thick of things as far as playoff goes, and maybe even fighting for a supporter shield or top of the table type of deal. And obviously a third of the season is already gone, and we still have 2/3 to go, and a lot of things can happen. And am I going to sit here and tell you that I think the Dynamo won't make the playoffs? No, I don't think I don't think that's the case. I think the Dynamo have the talent currently right now to be a playoff team, borderline play-in, where they're playing for that 8-9 spot. I think they can make it to the playoffs. Just outright because I think they have the talent. Obviously, they've just shown us with the wins against New York City FC, the San Jose game. That unfortunately, didn't we should have won that game, but obviously the way that they showed out against a Bruce Arenas led team that obviously who has all the knowledge in the world and has great players on that team and has that team playing like crazy as well. We managed to we managed to go through that storm. Against Minnesota, we beat those guys and things of that nature. So this team has proven that they're able to compete with those guys on the upper echelon as far as the Western Conference goes. But like Andres says, I need to see more consistency. I need to see them take care of the clubs beneath us. Am I expecting them to go up against LAFC or go up against Vancouver or go up against the top clubs and win and all that stuff? No, I'm not expecting that. Do I expect them to compete and look good? Yes. But when when Sporting Kansas City comes in, when Montreal comes in, when St. Louis comes in later on, I'm expecting wins. I expect wins. I'm not expecting ties. I'm not expecting losses like I did with Sporting Kansas City. I expect 3 points and I expect a dominant performance. And once the Dynamo are able to show me that consistently, then for sure I know that they're gonna be a playoff team. So I think they're a playoff team. So I guess with that being said, guys, I mean hey, MLS season is back. We're gonna get ready. This month is not as crowded as May. Only 3 games for June, so it should be a little bit of a resting time for the players to get back, into shape. Rotation won't be needed as much, but if they do rotate, obviously it gives other players the opportunity to play these games and have a good time. But with that being said, before we go, Andres, let the people know where they can find us.
Yeah, as always, we're gonna be keeping you guys covered through the rest of the season. We're roughly at the halfway point, but there's always gonna be content for you guys, 100%. Dynamic Foxtrot is gonna be our handle for Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. We also have a separate handle on X called Noodle Tiempo, where we try to keep you guys covered as much as possible in all aspects. We also cover Dash and Dose, so stay tuned for that. And also, wherever you're listening to your podcast, we do appreciate your support. Make sure to follow up, subscribe to whatever you're listening, and also give us some feedback in the comments. If we have to improve or anything, if you guys want to ask us questions, that's a good way of doing it. If not, our live streams on YouTube and our channel Foxtrot TV, where we live stream our episodes as much as possible. We do read our comments, and we thank Kyle once again from Kyle's blog for tuning in previously, asking us questions just now, and yeah, we do look forward for your feedback and questions. We love engaging with you guys, and as always, we do appreciate the support that you give us. And Ghost TV, also another channel that we put all of our content as well, and yeah, another big shout out to Fox in the Box. We did put our latest episode earlier this week, so check it out if you haven't already on our Substack page. And we do have all of our links in the Dynamic Foxtrot profile to check it out. So stay tuned, guys.
For sure. OSG, anything you want to include before we head out? What's going on with the ladies in Dash?
Yep. Hey, yeah, but Andres, what's coming out Monday morning or Sunday night? Is it a Foxtrot game day? Somebody's going to Houston for a doubleheader, for Dash on Friday, for Houston on Saturday. So, guys, catch me at the concourse, catch me on the concourse, catch me in the stadium, catch me outside the stadium, catch me around the stadium, catch me in Houston this weekend. Dash Friday night, 7 o'clock against San Diego. Houston, of course, as we've talked about, Montreal. But we started the tailgate at 4 o'clock with the Surge. Surge. And then I'll be around. Hey, I'm working this weekend, so let's see what we can get. Let's see what players we can interview. Dash, we're dashing it right now. We're being hopeful. We're looking forward to the next game. They announced a friendly against Rayados today. But as far as San Diego, that's going to be a tough match on Friday. But y'all look for me. It's a Foxtrot game day, a double Foxtrot game day. So I'm gonna bring it to y'all before, during, and after. Hopefully some mixed zones with some players, and then you're gonna have the press conferences. So y'all catch up. Y'all know what to do. That's gonna be Sunday night or Monday morning, whenever we can get all that information out to y'all. But I'll be in Houston. I want y'all to come by and say hi. Give me a high five and throw those H's up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Hey, man, an update on the mileage, man. Well, you got an update for us?
No, bro. I stopped counting because I'm at like 55.
It's all good. It's all good,
bro. I bought the car when I started, right, and I'm up to 55,000, and this is my 4th year having the car. So you do the math, you do the mileage, but you see me and y'all see me in Houston all the friggin' time, so I'm there, and as long as it's got a place to stay, I'm there, and I'm gonna keep adding the mileage as long as I can. So looking forward to adding mileage to the Gold Cup game against Saudi Arabia. Hoping to add mileage to the All-Star game all the way in Austin, and hopefully getting a McGlynn or a Dorsey or somebody. Hopefully one Dynamo player. Otherwise, it won't be any fun doing. But catch me. Y'all see me. Say hi. OSG.
For sure. Yep. But with that being said, guys, like I said, on behalf of myself, Andres OSG, we appreciate the support like always. We surpassed 300 on the YouTube a couple of weeks back. Now we're on the road to 400. And with that being said, I mean, guys, you always know to throw those H's up for H-Town. Mr. Tim Howard, I need a signature on here. I need a John Hancock.
Sign it. Come on, sign it.
Bring us some players first.